It's always that awkward moment to see if anybody's even going to show up. Even though there's 13,000 people in the group, for some reason I always feel like no one's going to show. They
Yeah, that
always do.
keeps growing every week.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. We have liftoff. We have viewers. We have eyeballs. Super excited for this one. Before we get into it, of course, if you're watching this live, appreciate you. Hashtag live. Let us know. Also, I'd love to know if you're a setter, if you're a closer, if you're just looking to get into this industry, if you're an employer. I want to make sure we're forming content around the people who are tuning in. If you watch this on the replay because you're so busy crushing it that you couldn't even take this time, I also appreciate you, and let me know hashtag replay. So I have been getting request after request. Please get some of these amazing UCM students on a call, on a live, on something. We want to hear from them. I think people are semi tired of hearing my voice and also just want to see what's happening inside. There was clearly only really one choice for getting student interviews back on the go. This person has been an absolute honor to watch her grow, to have her a part of UCM. From the early beginnings, just the first thing that I picked up on was the dedication, the work ethic, some of those X factors that are very hard to teach. So, from a teacher perspective, a mentor perspective, all the things that I look for early on, they were there. But something happened. I don't know the exact time frame, but something happened along the way, and what I thought was an insane work ethic, it like doubled down. She went harder, spread herself out more, became a leader, which I think is really important in this space, but has been not only crushing it on her own, but an inspiration and impactful in other students. You talk to any student in UCM, they've recently talked to this person. And so it's been amazing watching her journey. It's been an honor for me to be a part of it. Rachel, welcome.
Thank you, thank you. What a nice introduction there. It's been fun. It's been fun since the beginning of the year when I joined.
Yeah, interesting use of the word fun. It's been enjoyable for sure. So let's start from the very beginning, not birth, but the very beginning of this industry. So, how the heck did you stumble upon this crazy world of high ticket remote sales in the first place?
Yeah, that's a good question. I feel like everybody has their own unique story. So I'll share mine. A few years ago, I'm doing my 9 to 5, and I feel like I'm just settling in life. I'm kind of just coasting, and I'm like, let's do something and make an impact. So a few years ago, I got 2 labs. I started doing some pet therapy work, but that was once a week or whatever. Um, but I still wanted to do more. I wanted to make more of an impact. So I started trying to solve problems. And I feel like that's always a good way to get started. So my grandmother, she has a boarding facility. So she was getting some overbookings. And with me being in IT for 18 years, I was like, hey, there's a problem. She's doing manual bookings. Let me automate that and help her with that. So I did that for her site, and that was running real good. So then I was like, you know what? I could probably help other business owners, but
Mm.
learning sales might be important. So that's when I kind of first got into it. I kind of just stumbled upon it. So I invested into a sales training program then, and that's when my eyes were open. Like, sales doesn't have to be what I thought it was, like the car salesman, like in your face, aggressive. You're going to buy this or you're walking out. That's kind of what I thought sales was. So that let me know you don't have to be like that. So that's kind of where it started.
Mm. And how long ago was that?
That was last year when I invested, probably in summertime. It's almost been a year now.
Okay. And after you went through that program, was that like a program about transitioning into the space, or was that strictly sales training?
Yeah, so it was just sales training. So once I got done with that, I figured I actually pivoted. Instead of wanting to do my own business now, I wanted to hear how I could make an impact with being on sales calls because I enjoy talking to people. So I knew I could be on sales calls, like be on the front line of them and help people make big decisions in their life. So I felt like I could compare that, pair that really good with my pet therapy work. And then all the extra benefits, the time freedom eventually, making more money so I can donate and help out as well. So, yeah.
I love it. I love it. So after you went through that sales training, what was kind of the process? Were you able to land a job pretty easily? Was it the right job for you? What was that process kind of post sales training?
Yeah. So I think that's where UCM came in. So I got done with that 6 month program and I asked for some direction. I'm like, hey, how can I land some decent roles? So their advice to me was, hey, here's 5 Facebook groups. Go in there, apply to the job boards, the jobs on there, which I feel like 90 or 95% of your students come from other sales programs. So
Yeah.
I was just one of those in that group where I had some scammy offers, like they wouldn't even tell me what I was selling, some other roles I didn't make any money. And then I went on a hunt to find a solution, to find some ways to find some better roles.
I'm always interested by that because that seems to be the fork in the road. Some people come to me and say, I went through this program, good, bad, or otherwise. I don't know the next steps, or I'm having trouble landing the job, or I need help with this or that. And then the same answer, but some people will say, oh, I can't get help because I went through another program. So it's never fun, obviously, to go through and invest again without earning. But what was it that caused you to say, I need to invest again in myself?
Well, I knew I didn't have the answers. And the old me from 5 years ago, I used to try to do everything myself. So you got time or money. So I
Hmm.
would YouTube university it, but I knew I didn't want to wait forever. The 9 to 5, I was wanting to get out of that as soon as possible. So I knew I could either try to do it myself, maybe it worked, maybe it didn't, or find someone that's already done this, has a blueprint, invest in them, someone that I know that I can trust, and then I know my speed of success will be shortened a lot.
Hmm. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. I think what I always tell people is like, I don't want you to think you can't do it without me. It's just, how can we speed up this process using the mistakes that I've made and the experience I've had? I think that's important. Okay, so then you join UCM. Was there anything that you noticed in getting in? What was your kind of early impressions early on, I guess?
Yeah. So before I joined, and which I'm trying to get away from, I'm very information. So I went into the free group, saw all the value that y'all had in there. I'm like, what? This is y'all put so much value in the free group and direction. And then there was videos in there. So it was very easy to know that you're an honest person, you're very open, transparent. And the I think the biggest thing that I liked about you the most is you don't add fluff. Like you tell us what we need to hear. And I don't want someone adding fluff. And I feel like that's why we get along so well, just because you don't do that. Like no bullshit, no excuses. Let's just get to work. So that's one thing that I really liked about you when I was testing you before I came in, I guess you could say.
Yeah, the funny thing about Rachel, every time that I say something nice to her, she's like, I thought you were going to slap me around. Like she likes that straight, direct to the point, which I enjoy. I think, you know, there's always a time and a place for a shoulder to cry on, support, a little pep in the step. But I think people want the truth. They want to hear it because, again, I'm not attacking the person, but if the strategy doesn't align with what you want, we're going to waste a bunch of time sugarcoating it, or we can just get to the point, right? So I love that. All right, and so you join UCM,
Yep. So I
and
joined, yeah, I had my call with Hunter, the next day. And then since my goal was to transition out, that's what we focus on. And that's one thing I like about UCM. It's not about all go review everything in the course because that would take you a long time because there's so much information in UCM. But it's what do you need right now? Let's focus on that and then we'll shift once you need something else. So, my first 2 weeks, I really went hard on networking. From those 2 weeks, I had 4 opportunities available. I selected two of them and then, I went to town. So things have been really fast moving for me once I got inside of UCM.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, it's a testament again to your hard work. Everybody has the same training, everybody has the same support, everybody has, the portals and the community, but some people elevate and really take advantage. And you're someone that showed up on every call for the first little bit, for quite a while, actually. And still to this day, with everything you got going on, we see your face as much as anybody. So that's a testament to your commitment and work ethic. And as you've added things on, you come back and say, how can I make it all fit? Which a lot of people struggle with that time management. I guess that's kind of my first question is, how do you stay committed to that continual growth when you have so much on your plate?
Yeah, that's a good question. And this was part of when I got into UCM, we talked about goals. Like you need big goals. You need to be passionate about something. Because if you're not, you got to find that motivation and so you can have that drive. So with my passion, wanting to do as much pet therapy work as possible, wanting to help as many people as possible. When I think about that, and then, every Sunday, some people relax on their Sundays. Sunday, I go to the nursing home, and that fills my cup up. So I get to take my lab around, and just seeing the people come out of their shell and like seeing them happy, it changes the whole environment of the whole building. So, my motivation is so, my passion is so, much about that. It's not hard to go to work. Well, and plus we enjoy this. Like I do. I enjoy it. So I feel like those are real big reasons. You need a big passion. You need to enjoy what you're doing.
Yeah, I think it's so important and so overlooked, because sometimes we want something so bad, right, that we kind of hold it hostage, and it's like, okay, we'll find the joy after we get to the destination. And the people that I've been able to see balance these things are the ones that can find the joy in the process, in the growth, in the challenge, right, and have a strong why, which I think is so important. And being able to have a relationship with the journey. I think, especially these top performer mindsets, I know myself, I struggle with it, always pushing it off, like, oh, I'll relax when, or I'll be happy when. And eventually you're like, I'm always just going to push this off. Why don't I enjoy this right now? And I can work hard and enjoy the process. What we do is fun. It's enjoyable. It's meaningful. It's impactful. So I love that.
It is. And also, I wanted to say one more thing. I haven't always been great about managing my priorities, and that's when the support comes in. Every time that I've messaged you, John or Hunter, y'all respond back ASAP with good direction. Not what I want to hear, but what I need to hear. So the support, I mean, it's top notch. And you always talk about don't wait. Don't try, like, of course, try things, but don't do days and hours and hours. Like when you're stuck, reach out for help. And that's how you improve really fast too.
Absolutely. Yeah, again, we're there for everybody, but some people use it more than ever. And I always say, you're not bothering me. I don't care if you reach out eight times a day, like use it. It's the resource there for you. So what have been some of the valuable lessons or things that you've picked up along the way that you might have some golden nuggets for people tuning in that are starting out?
Yeah. To be honest, my original goal was just to really learn how to land decent roles. But when I got inside UCM, I figured out it was way more than that. It was way more than that. Like learning how to network, learning how to do content, because your social medias, that's your resume nowadays. So you need to know how to brand yourself. So that was really big. Another thing that's been really big for me is my mindset, and the mindset work that I've done from the beginning of the year to, now with John, having one-on-ones with him, having the weekly call. Those are one of my can't miss calls, because you don't know what you don't know. But then when we talk about it and then you analyze it, you grow as a person. So I've grown so much, which I never expected coming in trying to just locate roles. So that's been a big thing for me. I had some limiting, beliefs coming in that I had to work with. And I know you said at the beginning there was something that happened and things started clicking once I started working on my mindset. You got to get your mindset right if you're going to do anything successful in life. So that's a big part of it.
100%. Yeah, it's always, to me, like when I hear messages like all you need is skill set, I'm like, what what about like a great skill set with a horrible mindset? How is that sustainable? How is there longevity? And I think it's so important that people look to you and they might think like, she's so committed, the work ethic is there, she seems so solid, like why is she going to these mindset calls, or why is she, but there's levels, and every time you think you've cleared the slate clean of limiting beliefs, it's like, oh, there's one, and as you start to rise, then there's new ones that get discovered, right? It's like those old ones get washed away, but then there's a whole new set, and it's a never ending journey. I think as soon as you stop focusing on the mindset, it's you're in for trouble. You're in to get slapped around a little bit. Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. And not only, is the support amazing inside of UCM, but the other members, like I feel like you can't meet better members inside of a community. Like we're all here helping each other, pushing each other, calling out our shit when we need to, like, because we all want the best for each other. And it's hard to find a community where everybody cares about each other like that. It's like a family atmosphere. So that's really nice too. That was another benefit that I did not see coming. So we kind of leveled up my friend group, and I know some of the people inside UCM, they'll be lifelong friends as well, because we just have a great connection.
Yeah, I was going to ask you on that because, I mean, from an outside perspective, you've been able to come in, you networked to getting great opportunities, consistent opportunities, multiple opportunities, right? You've landed yourself in what you would consider a dream offer. You have the training, you have the support, you have the action steps. I wonder, like, you seem to be networking with UCM students as much as anybody. Why, if everything is going the way you want it to and you're able to get that, what's the value of networking with people inside or outside of UCM?
Yeah. So just I feel like you always want to improve your network, and you never know who you're going to meet and what kind of conversations you're going to have. I know we usually plan for the network meetings to be 15, 20 minutes, but some of mine run longer than an hour just because we get caught up in conversation and we just really get to know each other. And it's fun networking and learning about other people, and improving your friend, improving your networking circle that you're in makes a big impact in your whole life, not only work but your personal life too. What they're thinking, what they're saying, who you surround yourself's huge.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, for me, you never know. Like you said, you never know what you're going to unturn, what you're going to find out about someone, or what's going to pop up. The amount of times where I thought, wow, this is just a friendly conversation, and they mentioned something, and it's like, oh yeah, or a reminder. But also, it's that idea of nurturing relationships. That's what I love about UCM, because you have kind of your inner circle of the people that you joined with, right? And then you have alumni, and then you have new people coming in, and seeing that kind of newness and being an inspiration for them. What it does for me also is, when I'm speaking to someone else, I feel like I'm almost speaking to myself. And it's much easier to give someone else advice, or see an issue, or see a mindset block in someone else. And sometimes that's just a big mirror right in front of me. And I'll catch myself like explaining something to someone or giving them a piece of advice and be like, that's something you haven't been doing. There it is. So it's like it strengthens convictions and kind of serves as a reminder of those core foundational ideas, because it's not enough to just learn something once. It's, is that implementable, and is that evident in my life over and over and over again consistently? So I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So on the other side, someone, let's say there's someone listening to this who's maybe struggling, maybe hasn't got the results they want. Do you have any words for them?
Take action and like do it now. You always talk about imperfect action, even if it's not 100%, which I had to get away from that, because when I grew up, my parents had posters. It's not practice, it's perfect practice. So I had to get away from some of those,
Mm.
but with the mindset that helped. But you got to get in there and not be afraid to hit the enter button. So what if you get a bad feedback? You got feedback, adjust, move on. So it's really about taking action, and taking action fast. And if it's not working, pivot.
I love that. Yeah, messy. I think messy action is so important. I have my DMs are loaded every day, and it's always, what's the best? What's the best strategy for this? What's the best outreach message? And honestly, I have no idea. And the amount of time and energy to try and figure out the best when it's like, well, what are you doing right now? Nothing? Well, anything is going to be better than that. The imperfect message is going to be better than no message at all, right? Putting yourself out there, networking, getting rejected, all of those things are going to be more beneficial than sitting there contemplating what could potentially work, right? And that's something that I know Hunter is a big believer in, myself as well, is bring us the data from those uncomfortable, messy actions and we can adjust them. But debating what's going to work, there's nothing we can do there, right? So I love it. I'm so proud of you. It's been, like I said, an amazing journey. I know we're just beginning. You've grown so much in so many ways. You are a true inspiration to UCM students and everybody in this industry of what's possible when you put your head down, you admit that you maybe need some help along the way, and you get supported, and you take those messy actions. And so I appreciate you so much. Um, Anything that you want to leave us with? Anything that you want to say before we wrap up?
Well, I did want to thank you for I'm so glad you created UCM. I don't know where a lot of us would be without you. You create blueprints, you take months, maybe years off of our success time, and you are the support and the people in that group. It's unbelievable. Like, I don't know where I would be right now if I didn't join UCM earlier this year. So I really just appreciate everything you've done and support your whole team. It's been amazing.
Oh, well, again, for me, like you talked about purpose and a big why, seeing people like you hit those milestones, to me, some days there's more frustrating than others, but like seeing those wins and seeing click for someone and seeing those next milestones for me is huge. And for anybody that was taking the over under on how many times Rachel would mention dogs on this, I think we did pretty low. I think it was only 2. I had the over under about 9.5. So pretty
I kept it
amazing
controlled.
there. Yeah, I love it. All right. If you have any questions for myself or Rachel, I'm sure we'll both have a look and we can answer. So leave any questions on there. Again, we appreciate you all. Onwards and upwards, and we'll see you next time.